Married people of Reddit, what's one thing you didn't learn about your spouse until after your wedding day? I discovered my wife is a hoarder, and doesn't want to throw anything away. She's gotten better over the years, but it's still an issue. How insane his mother is. He was clear that they had a difficult relationship when he was growing up and that he is really close with his dad because of her behavior. Since we've been married she's been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, and her health professionals say it's likely she has genetic degenerative neurology, Huntington's. He dunks his Oreos in water instead of milk. I still don't know why. I thought the person who mixed the peanut butter and jelly together before spreading them on the bread was going to be the worst thing in this thread, but this is 100 times worse. We were both on the same page in a newspaper. It was found a couple years after we were married. Was it the local arrests section? She makes PB&J sandwiches by mixing the PB&J in a separate bowl before spreading it on the bread. Pure savagery. Of all the responses in this thread, this is the one that made me say what the fuck. I'm having a drink after work by myself and I audibly just said what to this. Like Jesus. Who does that? He'd never been to a funeral. It didn't come up until we had to attend one and he had questions. Contrary to what my ex-wife said when we were dating, I learned she believed that sex was just for making kids. Sorry Barry. She liked to poop with the door open. Man. My wife is the opposite. I will be sitting down for less time than it takes to get the seat to stop feeling cold and she'll just walk in and start brushing her teeth like I'm invisible. I'm like, WTF, you used to knock? And she'll speak through frothy-mouthed toothpaste, thapt wapt before we were married then spit out her toothpaste, and leave the door open when she leaves. Classic. My wife is allergic to all artificial sweeteners. During the second night of our honeymoon we decided to stay in and get some takeout. My beverage of choice at the time was Crystal Light Raspberry Ice which contains aspartame. While we were eating she wasn't thinking and she asked for a sip. About 5 minutes later she became extremely ill and started having issues breathing. After a few minutes she read the ingredients on my beverage and yelled at me I am allergic to aspartame. Me, being the loving new husband I am yelled back since when? You never told me that. She never bothered to tell me because she grew up in a household with no artificial sweeteners because she was allergic. She changed a whole lot after the wedding. From wanting kids to not, from hating her parents and the way they treated other people to siding with them. Her mom was a nurse who constantly talked about patients negatively and her dad was an entitled business owner who tried to run people off the road constantly. Awful road rage. They both were the type of Christians that give the whole religion a bad name. She ended up remarrying one of my old college buddies shortly after the divorce. I'm happily divorced now, almost 12 years now that I do the math. But after we got married I learned that she viewed her money as her money and my money as our money. Which was interesting because before we got married my money was our money and she didn't have money to speak of. Not that I was even making good money. But after we got married she got a well-paying job and suddenly her money was hers and mine wasn't mine. It didn't last long after that. I learned just today that that's sort of how my dad and his ex, my little bro's mom wound up separating. She would use up all her money to buy knickknacks and nostalgic toys and as seen on TV tools, everything and anything she doesn't even use, and then use his money to buy more shit without telling him. I go over to her house every now and again and I've noticed she definitely hoards, but now I know how bad it has been. She farts. She had always farted around me. No big deal. Usually she kept it to little toots unless she was sick or drunk then it would be loud like mine. I don't mind its nature. But holy fuck she unleashed an ass trumpet that would put college marching bands to shame. She can be across the house and I can hear her ass. My wife sounds like an 18-wheeler engine breaking down a mountain road. My petite little Jake break. That he plays video games. For 10 to 15 hours a day. Even when he married. And has kids. And has a full-time job. With marriage counseling he cut back to 5 hours a day. It's now, year 22. Back up to about 7 hours a day on weekdays. I never knew marriage was going to be this lonely. Just how much she really loves Christmas. We lived together before we were married, and it wasn't that bad. But the moment we said I do it changed. Now, she starts the Christmas train in fucking October. I'm talking the tree, garland and goddamn Michael Bublé. When I asked her about this, she said oh, we're married now. So you have to like this too. Purely joking but damn. Try September my dude. From a guy who thinks Christmas should start like December the 23rd and finish the 26th lol.